Oh, hey there. It's me, Dylan. I just wanted to give you an update. This show that you're about to hear is going to be a little bit different. We're going to be back soon, I promise. We're going to bring you all of the season's news, and we're going to preview Becca K's journey as the Bachelorette, which begins May 28th. But until then, we knew our devoted listeners were clamoring for more hot APB content. APB. It's ABP content. And we wanted to feed you little baby birds. So we scoured our archives and found some recordings that never saw the light of day. What you're about to hear was recorded on that fateful day, February 28th, 2018. You heard us cover week 1 of the Olympic counter-programming that was the Bachelor Winter Games. But you never heard us put a bow on this tremendous 2 weeks of competition. That's partly because me and Pat didn't really like it and didn't really watch. But you guys are going to figure out all about that in this episode. Love you guys. Keep listening. We'll be back soon. Peace out.
Kevin, that guy that looks like James Marsden and Frankenstein.
Stop saying
Ashley,
Frankenstein. We've already perfected this equation.
I respectfully
it is
disagree.
Quasimodo.
Did you see our Instagram post?
It's unbelievable that you're doing this.
I was upset by it.
I don't see Frankenstein at all.
At all. It's Quasi.
He doesn't have screws in his head.
Yeah, he's not green-skinned. It's Quasimodo and James Marsden.
Nor is he tall.
Well, hey there, hello, and welcome to another brand spanking new episode of another Bachelor podcast. And my name's Dylan, and I'm saddled up next to one real Nicholas Davis.
What's going on, everybody? It's good to be back.
You are back from that cold place. And we got Pat over there behind the glass.
Hi, everybody.
How you doing, Pat?
Oh, dude, every time I come in here, I am so happy. I got a smile ear to ear hanging out with my buddies.
You're awful. Awful. Anyways, tonight we have a massive 5-hour Winter Bachelor Games wrap-up extravaganza, which is going to be difficult to provide for you, our listeners, because I didn't watch 4 of the 5 hours. Pat, how many hours did you watch?
None, because I was really busy.
What were you busy doing?
Dude, I got better things to do.
You sons of bitches.
Oh.
He had better things to do. I was back home for maybe the second time this year, and I took time away from my family to watch all 4 episodes, to record our scheduled time last Thursday and call in and give an incredible performance like I did when I called in when DeMario was in the studio.
Yeah, great job.
And you guys didn't watch it?
I am sorry to you, to our listeners. I just can't stomach watching all of this. I don't care. I love Yuki. I love Ben Higgins. But all the other yuckos, I don't want to watch them. I'm a professional podcaster. I should turn my phone off in this studio.
But Dylan, you're right.
Thank you.
Dude, come on, man. All right? Look, yes, Ben Higgins is handsome, and Yuki, she's just a little ball of fun.
Yeah.
But other than that, I can't dedicate 4 hours of my life to this. But thank God someone did.
Thank God Nick did.
Luckily, I sense your guys' lack of commitment to the team and enthusiasm for this spin-off of the franchise, and I prepared a one-time-only segment. I'm going to be covering 4 hours in 4 minutes, and I'm going to call it...
What?
Let's get this trending. Hashtag Nix4and4. That's hashtag Nix, numeral 4, IN4. Hashtag Nix4and4.
Yeah. Now, this is going to go gangbusters in the tweetsosphere.
I feel like it's going to blow up. Everybody's going to be seeing it. The only thing trending more in Bachelor Podcast Twitter is going to be 2 black girls, 1 rose. Those 2 ladies are killing it.
What are you talking about?
Look into it.
Anyways.
Or don't. They're a competition.
Yeah, we've got a stopwatch here ready to go. Nick's got 4 minutes to break down 4 hours of the Bachelor Winter Games with no help.
From us.
No help from us.
No, none.
On account of we have not seen it. Nick, are you ready to go?
Not only are you going to give me no help, you're going to give me no interruptions. I would like to have an unfettered, and I will walk out of this goddamn studio.
Hey, listen. Don't interrupt.
No, I can't promise that. I'll try though.
Oh, snap.
Ready? Pat, you want to count down?
Yeah, let's do it. When can we start?
3, 2, 1,
go!
3. I wanted to count down to the countdown,
so
but
dude,
let's just jump into it. Ready? 3, 2, 1, go!
Bachelor Winter Games Episode 3 started out with Yuki and Ben playing in the snow, and Yuki expressing that Ben is her best friend, which when I first heard it, threw me into a jealousy-fueled rage. Then we go to a real competition between the contestants, the downhill skiing. Lindsay and Claire finish 1 and 2, while Lily, the snowboard instructor, comes in at a distant 3rd. This led me to believe there was some fuckery afoot on a number of levels. First, with Leslie and Claire going 1 and 2, that makes me wonder what type of advantage silicone gives you in terms of drag. Something to look into. More seriously though, Lily looked like she was not trying at all. I believe the producers convinced her to throw the competition due to her forgettable nature, much like the character Anne in Arrested Development. The men go, and Dean just barely edges out Ben, even though in classic Dean fuckboy fashion, he finished the race hot dogging and going backwards, though it was pretty impressive, and he finished in only 30 seconds. For comparison, Fat Mike, whose performance in this race was a really great metaphor for his time on Winter Games, finished in 6 minutes and 42 seconds. Dean and Leslie winning gave them an extra date card. I thought it would have been an incredibly dope move if they would have refused to give the date card to another couple, but alas, they decide to stay in the producers' good graces and offer Ashley and Kevin the date card. Ashley and Kevin go on their date and have a discussion about Ashley's intact hymen. Ashley is shocked that after they talk about it, he doesn't, I don't know, throw a glass of wine in her face and walk out. They move on to a classic ghost-esque pottery scene. Claire and Christian finally get their jacuzzi date, and it does not go well. At this point, I didn't want to jump to conclusions, but it started to seem like they may not be right for each other. Leslie and Dean have their one-on-one, and Leslie is surprised that Dean does not spit in her face when they talk about her perfectly sculpted breasts, and actually quite the opposite, is excited to see them. We go back to the house and Tiffany decides to leave. You may be wondering who Tiffany is. So am I. Not important. We move on to a much more impactful exit. Chris Harrison sits down with Ben, and they have an honest, emotional discussion about what's next for Ben. Chris looks almost more devastated than Ben, and at one point, I actually thought he was going to present his asshole to Mr. Higgins. He doesn't, and Ben leaves to tell the group of his decision. Ben must be as cool as our Dylan here perceives him to be, because the group looks legitimately crushed. Fat Mike sees this emotional farewell and decides he's going to hop on the sympathy train and also announces his departure. The group is stunned, not because of his decision, but because I'm pretty sure most of them thought he was a gaffer on the production crew. They finally understand what he's trying to say and basically tell him not to let the door hit his fat ass on the way out. Then Chris has to essentially kick Yuki out of the house because there are no single men left. I love Yuki and hope she is part of Bachelor Nation for years to come. Chris Harrison then announces the most bizarre rose ceremony of all time, a kissing competition. Before the competition, Christian and Claire stop lying to themselves and go their separate ways, and everybody breathes a sigh of relief that they were not murdered by the German psycho. Chris announces another twist. The judges will be JoJo, Rachel, and Ari. Leslie and Dean kick off the competition and do some absurd dance routine where Leslie's crotch ends up in Dean's face. Though bizarre and overall too much, it was kind of hot. They get to the judges, and Rachel is salty as fuck towards Dean and judges very harshly. Kevin and Ashley I go next and have a good old-fashioned sexy kiss. Courtney and Lily have a really fun kiss. During Jordan and Bibiana's kiss, we are cutting to ITMs of Allie, who is expressing that she is starting to feel sick. We see quick cuts of her sweating profusely, and when her and Josiah's name is called, she is forced to run to the toilet and blow chunks. Though it's fun to think she was throwing up at the idea of having to kiss Josiah's gross face, she later expressed on Instagram that she actually just ate some bad sashimi. They are forced to kiss after Allie evacuated herself, a la Nick and Vanessa in 0G. Luke and Stassi have a gentle kiss that compromises Stassi's beliefs about proper courtship. We see the judges deliberating, and Rachel is adamant that Dean and Leslie were last, even though they clearly weren't because she's a salty bitch. Despite her resemblance to Salpe, the judges make the right decision and send Josiah and Allie home. Allie admits in her SUV ride that this wasn't exactly the connection she was looking for, and that concludes Winter Games Episode 3. Episode 4 starts with 5 couples still standing. I think this calls for a, I've always wanted to do this, roll call! Bibiana and Jordan, Lily and Courtney, Ashley and Kevin, Dean and Leslie, Stassi and Luke. Chris kicks off the episode by announcing the final competition will be couples figure skating. Courtney and Lily, who continue to endear themselves with the audience after almost zero camera time in the first 2 episodes, practice a little Wim Hof and go from hot tub to snow to hot tub, and seem to genuinely like each other and both be really fun people. Jordan then initiates a conversation with Bibiana about their future, which sends her into a tailspin. This eats up about 30 minutes of the show and ultimately ends with her telling Jordan she's not into it, and they both go home. Never in a million years would I have imagined Jordan, the guy whom we are introduced to swirling a glass of scotch like an evil villain and told tales of him flipping a coin to decide the fate of 2 women's lives, that he would be the one to be dumped in him and Bibiana's relationship, especially with how desperate she seemed up to this point. A classic beggars can't be choosers scenario. Later, Nancy Kerrigan makes a cameo, which totally makes up for the fact that Tanya Harding is going to be in the audience of the Oscars this Sunday. Chris Harrison tells them all they'll have one final one-on-one date, which includes the option of a fantasy suite. Leslie and Dean eagerly fuck. Stassi and Luke skip the fantasy suite out of respect for Stassi's mother, which ultimately may have been her undoing, but I'm getting ahead of myself. Courtney and Lily express their love for one another, but still decline the fantasy suite because they have more character than 99% of the people who have appeared in this show. Kevin and Ashley I accept the fantasy suite, but they leave it ambiguous as to whether or not they bang. We move on to the final competition of Bachelor Winter Games. All 4 teams are surprisingly competent in the ice dancing, and Kevin and Ashley I ultimately take the gold, although I believe Courtney and Lily once again got screwed because they are not as well known to the Bachelor audience. Kevin and Ashley are crowned champions, and that concludes Bachelor Winter Games.
Well, that took way too long. I don't think that was 4 and 4, right?
I want to hear what the
Jesus Christ.
I want to hear what the fans think about hashtag Nick's 4 and 4.
Yeah, do tell us in the Facebook group and not in the ratings and reviews.
I'll tell the fans right now. I don't think Patrick and Dill liked it, but I think it's on them because they didn't watch the 4 hours.
Dude, no. Now I feel like
I fucking love that.
I'm put up to speed on it now. Now I'm ready to discuss the show.
You know what we did watch? The Bachelor Winter Games Tell All. Everybody's up on the dais, and we've got controversy to discuss. Guys, what do you want to talk about first? because full disclosure, I do not care about any of it.
Well, I think Patrick's going to have to steer this ship then.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Okay, so now I'm caught up to speed. I understand everything that happened, and I am ready to discuss this in a professional manner. Okay. So one thing, the way the show starts off, I guess Ashley, and Kevin got the trophy. They won. So that was wonderful, right?
And I do want to say thank you to Nick for just a wonderful social media game. If you hop on over to our Instagram, there is a wonderful little carousel of images of all the people that we've talked about and what they look like. Dean looks like a piece of shit. Kevin looks like James Marsden fucked Quasimodo. He is hideous, and it is confusing why everyone finds him attractive.
When you talk about that series of images, Dean being a piece of shit should be last. It's the punchline, Dylan.
Okay.
Please always put it last.
I'm sorry. You're right.
All right, can we get started here? I want to talk about this show now.
Yeah, I apologize. I'm saying sorry to everybody tonight.
All right, let's stop apologizing, okay? All right, so the show starts out on this tell-all thing. They go cover the couples that didn't make it first out of that thing. Bibiana and Jordan, they didn't work out, although I like that Jordan guy. Bibiana has had a lot of television time this week, as I've seen, probably a little too much. She only had one good line, mic drop, and boy, she wants to print that on a shirt.
Why too much?
Well, she was on the other tell-all, too.
Oh, yeah, she was.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
You're right. She has been riding that mic drop line far too long.
It wasn't that good of a line, honestly.
It was no everybody poops.
And it's very unoriginal. Lots of people say mic drop.
Okay. So anyway, Bibiana Jordan didn't work out. Josiah and that other broad didn't work out. They admitted basically they're having a lot of fun making out, but it didn't work out, right?
Yeah.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then Ben and Yuki had a really good friendship, as you covered. Ben said something really stupid about Yuki. He says he has a lot of respect for someone that flies around the world to be on this show.
Well, Ben's a little, a little slow, a little dull. And he kind of has an open heart for bullshit like that.
He was just here to be on TV, right? There was no way he was going to,
find love?
Yes.
In a hopeless place?
Yeah, there was no shot of this. Even if he did think a chick's hot, he's way too calculated. I'll give him that.
I don't know why you have such disdain for the greatest Bachelor in the history of ABC's franchise, The Bachelor.
I really like the guy, but
he's amazing.
But I have to agree with Patrick. I think he's very calculated. This guy was clearly making a play for trying to be the Bachelor again, like saying how he really still believes in this process. You can look at the couples that have made it, and it does work. So I want another shot at it. Like, I can't believe you would put yourself through this again.
I'll tell you what.
Move on, Ben.
I'll tell you what. You want to see the ratings fucking skyrocket? Throw Higgins back in there. Bachelor, #2. Let's go at it again. I would watch every episode of that season because I have a podcast on it, and it is my duty.
Just because you have a podcast on it doesn't mean you watch every episode.
Let's move on.
All right. All right, so let's go to the people that actually did find love and are still together.
Please.
In a hopeless place.
Couple number 1, Courtney and Lily. Call me crazy, but these two people look like identical twins. At some point, I took their hair off each other's head and I swapped it on the other person.
What
I
are you
couldn't tell
talking
the
like
difference.
in your mind's eye?
Yeah, in my brain.
Who does that?
In our aforementioned Instagram post with the doppelgangers, Courtney's doppelganger was Lily, and of course, obviously, vice versa.
Yeah.
They looked like they were separated at birth, but then ended up falling in love with each other. It was very weird.
Did you ever see Face Off, dude?
And having sex with one another on a road trip across the country.
In Face Off, they didn't look like each other.
No, they didn't.
They just switched faces.
Yeah, this is going to be like an Oedipal type Star Wars meets Luke and Leia type thing. They're
much more accurate.
They're going to find out some common DNA strands there between one another. They both have big teeth.
That is something that is not talked about enough of cinematic history. That incest in Star Wars.
Oh, I think it's covered just enough. You're not a Star Wars head, so you don't. That's what the Star Wars fans are called, right?
Last
Star
time
Wars
I saw
heads.
Empire Strikes Back in the theater with 300 people, when they kiss on the lips, everyone gives the gross out noise. All right, let me jump in here on this RV trip. Every once in a while, you're getting married, Dylan. I am married. You got your wife or fiance sitting next to you while something's on television, and the wife turns over, and now it's caused an issue. This RV trip that these two lovebirds did.
Yeah.
My wife was like, I've been mentioning I want to do this since we've been together.
You know, it's funny that you say that because I fell in love with my fiance, my dearest fiance, Cecilia, on a multiple day road trip up the coast to Washington and back down. So we've already had it. And when we were watching it, she turned to me with longing eyes and said, I love you so much. And I'm so happy that we got to do that. Very different experiences.
Patrick is going to have to change his normal routine and not listen to this episode in front of Cherie for fear of this being brought up again.
Thanks for reminding me of that.
Yeah, move on, Pat.
Okay.
I'm just saying, don't listen to the episode.
Move on, Pat!
All right, couple number 2. You know my feelings on Deanie, baby. Deanie and Leslie, there is
couldn't care
no way that these two are going to see it out of the next month or two.
No.
Okay.
No.
I know I've said this quite a bit. He is a love addict. He's the classic case. He has no real intimacy. By the way, all right, let's get it. Can we get into that key proposal?
He has no real intimacy. Yes, let's get into the
He's
key
not capable
proposal.
of intimacy. He's a total puss bag. He gets down on one knee, which was insane.
Yeah.
And I actually did think a proposal was going to happen at this time.
Right.
And I was like, my skin was crawling because I'm like, he realizes he's following the pattern of Taylor and Derek or whatever.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Carly.
Ironically,
chick.
Derek Path is his name.
Right.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
What it does is it buys you, if you do it on television on this show, that buys you into this Bachelor Nation thing forever because now you get to show up at the other events.
Right.
In the future.
And I say this, I run the risk of ironically somebody thinking this about me. But I fucking hate Dean for many reasons. But one of them, I don't like people that are confident in their comedic abilities when they have none. Dean thinks that he is so cute and so funny. And let me break it to you because I know you're listening. You're not.
Thank you, Walter Cronkite. Now, I don't want to be looking like I'm defending Dean, but my theory on this, because this was stupid. We're clearly all in agreement on that. The producers, okay, 2 out of 3 of us have some sense. Yeah. The producers developed this so they could use Dean kneeling in a promo.
Absolutely.
Because we know an engagement happened that night.
Absolutely.
So they could use this shot. Everybody thought Dean and Leslie get married. Spoilers happened. If you're into that sort of thing, we knew it wasn't. But some people definitely thought Dean was gonna ask her to marry him.
Yeah.
He gave her a key, but he's going to change those fucking locks.
I think that's a good place to stop and move on to the next couple.
Oh, couple number 3, Stassi and Luke. The show ended with them. I guess we can get to that after. Apparently, he didn't ask for her number once the cameras were turned off.
So this is the archetypal example of the reptilian relationships that develop between these people. They are fake. They are not real. And Luke is kind of exposed here. When the camera's cut off, it's made plain and clear that he never had any intention of continuing this relationship while, and I didn't watch those 4 hours, but I'm sure he said a lot of sweet nothings and a lot of talk about love and commitment to this poor, gullible. I was going to talk about her lips, but I can't find the words. They scare me.
As I covered in #Knicks4and4, they did not accept the fantasy suite, even though they thought they were on solid ground out of respect for Stassi's mother. And I think, as I almost got ahead of myself, that was their ultimate undoing. Had she
put out,
I'm sure he may have stayed around a little longer, or at least given his number out so they could hook up later. But she wasn't putting out, he's not giving out... ... his number.
He sucks. I mean, he's just the worst. To think that we in an alternate universe, he's the Bachelor. This man, America could have had 10, 12 weeks of this man leading this franchise. It's just terrifying.
And as we've seen on camera, when the cameras are on, he comes off pretty good. As him and Stassi, they bonded over both their hearts shitting out.
Oh God.
Right? That's touching. But the cameras are off. We get. Can I give a hot take of what I think really took place here?
Love hot takes.
I think Luke had a girlfriend back home, just showing up to be on TV.
Yeah.
Yep. Because he was so cold when it ended.
Yeah, it could be that, or like, we've all done it when somebody's talking to you and you just do not care about what they're saying at all. You look off into a horizon that may or may not be there because of walls and an audience. You just gaze off and don't pay any attention to what that person's saying.
Well, then you got to follow every sentence that they say with, like feigned. Like, I really could give a fuck less what you're saying.
If that is the case and he had that girlfriend back home, he still had to, expect this backlash, even though it is somehow, it's affecting him on some level, because this little pussy turned off, on the night of the World's Tell-All, he turned off comments on his Instagram because he was getting shit on by millions of women.
There's no foresight here. Like, what the fuck do you think is going to happen? You whisper sweet nothings into this jellied face, and then after the show, you completely shut off communication. People are going to find out. It's going to be talked about.
I don't know what I hated more, that outdated flow hawk or what came out of his mouth, Dylan.
Oh, God. He's the worst.
Do you know who was ready to start shitting on him?
Yeah, the biggest piece of shit of them all.
He fucking was talking about, Luke.
Do you want to say who it is?
Yeah, it's Dean. He was gloating. He was discussing. He's like, Luke looks so bad right now.
That's the worst I've ever seen anyone defend themselves. Do you remember when you were in the hot seat? That, sir, is the worst I've ever seen anybody defend themselves. You're a fool, probably because you had such a bad childhood. You want to move on?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Couple number 4.
Yeah.
Kevin, that guy that looks like James Marsden and Frankenstein.
Stop saying Ashley, Frankenstein. We've already perfected this equation.
I respectfully
it's Quasimodo.
disagree.
Did you see our Instagram post?
It's unbelievable that you're doing this.
I was upset by it.
I don't see Frankenstein at all.
At all. It's Quasi.
He doesn't have screws in his head.
Yeah, he's not green-skinned. It's Quasimodo and James Marsden.
Nor is he tall.
And I don't get why people find this man attractive. He's got a big, dumb forehead. And, he might have a nice body, but, you don't need that.
Now
Trust me.
Says the guy with the too high BMI to be on The Bachelor over here. Yeah. But I do think that he's good looking. Yeah. I have to disagree with you. And Pat. He's a good-looking man.
No,
the ladies love him.
Hold on. I know what women are attracted to.
He's got a big fat head and tiny teeth.
It's for women, it's 50% attraction. The other is 50% his confidence. Like, he exudes confidence. That's what I think.
He is very confident.
Okay, but these two people, they're very kooky. I hated Ashley I's eye makeup that she had on. I know she was trying to
and Marique, but don't glam shame him, baby. Don't do it.
Okay, at the end of the day, this Kevin guy, I think I got a good read on people. He seemed like he was real. Call me crazy. With all these fake narcissists that are on this franchise, he came off as legit. He was a gentleman when they basically said, hey, you two fuck in there?
Yeah.
And he's like, hey, her and I had a conversation. We're not going to talk about.
Yeah, no, that is really cool. And listen, Pat, I don't want you to worry. I would never, ever call you crazy.
I have to agree with you. I think he's real as well. And evidence of this is that he's been hanging out since the show ended with these two lovely people, Courtney and Lily. And if they're sticking around and being buddies with you, you got to be doing something right.
We fucking love Kevin. He's the greatest guy. Pat, do you want to move on to the next couple? My least favorite couple of this entire charade.
Claire and Benoit.
Oh, God.
Okay. All right. Now, Claire, at some point, I don't know when it was during the show, prior to them getting to Benoit and Claire's story, she shouted, a lot of people are here for, Instagram followers. And a lot of us are here.
I hate it.
A lot of us are here for, the right reasons. Okay, hairstylist from Sacramento.
Yeah.
You've been on The Bachelor.
Yeah.
Bachelor in Paradise. Winter Games. How the fuck has it worked out for you?
Honestly, and this might sound harsh, but if they perished in a car crash, I'm not going to continue. Anyways, they built this suspense up Claire, you're still with somebody here. Would that person please stand up? And then that dweeb, Benoit, looks around and stands up. Everyone starts cheering. I cannot tell you how much I hate these two. What foundation do you guys have? Benoit was there for, 2 days? He said, I love you, and then left?
Well, he did call her and said, are you okay? Claire was tear-ridden while she was discussing how someone would think of her to call and ask if she was okay.
God, she is such a fucking...
It doesn't take much.
I'll answer your question, these two people. They're extreme cases of narcissism, and they're lizards, and they live in the moment. They like that high, intense moment of all the attention, but the aftermath, that's not what they care about at this moment. It's about like the proposal, being in love, being on TV. After the real life conditions they happen to them, they're going to stare at each other and go, I fucking hate you.
Yeah. Have fun ice fishing in French Canada. You'll have fun.
I think Claire is definitely a lizard. I think Benoit is just a sad sap who thinks he found this beautiful woman of his dreams, but she is a demon.
Yeah. And I gotta say, I've never met a French Canadian that I've liked. They're all hoity-toities and they stink. Also, I don't like that beard. I don't like exact lines and beards, you know what I mean? Like, it's a little too clean and your thick-rimmed glasses are stupid looking.
He's hip.
So that's fucking it.
Yeah. I'm so excited to put this in our rear view mirror, just like Lily and Courtney did in their road trip across the country. We need to get into what?
That was just quite the extravaganza we just put on.
Yeah, I need to catch my breath. And, we need to stop this recording because this extravaganza has just gotten a little too hot for me. But thank you for listening. iTunes, rating and reviews. Please jump in there. Leave 5 stars. Not 1, 2, 3, or 4. Patrick will get vascular and upset. Instagram is where on the internet?
At Another Bachelor Podcast.
Facebook group is where on the internet?
Facebook.com/group/Another Bachelor Podcast.
I am Dylan saying goodbye. Nick, say goodbye.
Goodbye. You like how I learned the URL?
Yeah, it's great. Pat, say goodbye.
Hey, I don't want to be judged on this episode. Goodbye.